When we returned to the galaxy far, far away, fans were overjoyed to see a number of references to its long history. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Star Wars The Force Awakens Easter eggs. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the various Easter eggs in the first installment of the Star Wars sequel trilogy that you may have missed. Number 10. Cameos. Given the popularity of the Star Wars franchise, it isn't surprising that many celebrities wanted in on the film, even if only for a brief cameo.
You will remove these restraints and leave this cell with the door open.
It's pretty well known at this point that Daniel Craig played the stormtrooper whom Rey manipulates. But did you know that Unkar Plutt, the junkyard dealer on Jakku, is played by Simon Pegg?
1/4 portion.
Carrie Fisher's daughter Billie Lourd also makes an appearance as Lieutenant Connix, complete with a hairstyle that would make Princess Leia proud. Even Bill Hader gets in on the action, as he helped create the voice for BB-8 alongside Ben Schwartz. Number 9. Rey's connection to Luke. Rey is first introduced to the audience as somewhat of a loner. She's forced to scavenge for items she can trade for food, and lives in a downed AT-AT. One of the more curious items she possesses is a doll wearing orange and white clothing, the exact colors of a uniform belonging to an X-Wing pilot, and a similar outfit to what Luke wears in A New Hope. She also has an old X-Wing fighter pilot helmet, which she wears as she looks longingly at the sky. Could these items foreshadow a potential connection to Luke? Or at least another Rebel pilot, as suggested by the reference book, Star Wars: Rey's Survival Guide. Number 8. I got a bad feeling about this. Although perhaps not as iconic as I Am Your Father or May the Force Be With You, it's become a bit of a running joke across Star Wars films to include a line of dialogue along the lines of, "I have a bad feeling about this."
I've got a bad feeling about it.
Quiet.
Variations of the phrase have been said by multiple characters throughout the franchise, including Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I have a bad feeling about this.
But it's most memorably and most often uttered by Han Solo. And sure enough, it's Han who once again says it in The Force Awakens.
I got a bad feeling about this.
As usual, his bad feeling is warranted. He's just discovered that the Rathtars have been set loose on his freighter. Number 7. Old Ben.
You were the chosen one!
After defeating his former apprentice in a vicious lightsaber duel, Obi-Wan Kenobi worked with Yoda and Bail Organa to hide the children of Anakin Skywalker to protect them from the Emperor. Obi-Wan took Luke to Tatooine and lived nearby to watch over him. To conceal his identity, he ditched the name Obi-Wan and called himself simply Ben.
Ben? Ben Kenobi? Boy, am I glad to see you.
Of course, we learn that Kylo Ren's real name is Ben Solo. Although it's never directly said, it's safe to assume that Han and Leia named their son after Kenobi. Too bad he didn't grow up to do the name honor.
Ben!
Number 6. The Wilhelm Scream. This distinct soundbite has been heard by many, but few know it by name. A stock audio recording of a man screaming that can be traced back to 1951. It was dubbed the Wilhelm Scream after being applied to the character Private Wilhelm in the 1953 film The Charge at Feather River, after he's been shot with an arrow. Often used when a character is killed or badly wounded, it's been heard in over 360 films, including every Star Wars film up to and including The Force Awakens. It appears early in the movie when a stormtrooper is killed by a turbo laser during the scene when Poe and Finn escape from the First Order. Number 5. Maz's Flags.
If we can find it on our scanners, the First Order's not far behind.
The entrance to Maz Kanata's tavern is decorated with all sorts of flags. For the average fan, this wouldn't be something you'd look twice at. For the super fan, however, this scene has plenty of juicy Easter eggs. For starters, several of the flags can also be found in the pod racing scene in The Phantom Menace. Furthermore, 2 flags bear the Mythosaur skull and Clan Fett wheat insignia, both of which are found on Boba Fett's armor. For the eagle-eyed Star Wars fan, This was a nice nod to a larger, interconnected universe.
Relax, kid. She's run this watering hole for 1,000 years.
Number 4. FN-2187.
FN-2187. Submit your blaster for inspection.
The new characters are among the strongest aspects of The Force Awakens. Two of our protagonists, Poe and Finn, bond early as they attempt to escape from the First Order. It's Poe who actually gives Finn his name, as he was originally known only as FN-2187, his stormtrooper call sign. The number 2187 is the same number as Princess Leia's cell in A New Hope. George Lucas initially chose this number because he was a huge fan of a short film by Arthur Lipsett, entitled, you guessed it, 2187. Talk about a number with a history.
Hey, what's your name? FN-2187. What? That's the only name they ever gave me.
Number 3. Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness. One of the more memorable scenes of The Force Awakens is when Rey first comes across Luke's lightsaber. Upon touching it, she experiences a Force vision and witnesses several different scenes in quick succession. She also hears different voices, including Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "Rey, these are your first steps." The word Rey is actually voiced by the late Sir Alec Guinness through some clever editing of previous dialogue, while Ewan McGregor, the man who portrayed Kenobi in the prequels, actually came in to record the rest of the line specifically for the film.
I shouldn't have gone in there.
Number 2. Millennium Falcon nostalgia.
Chewie. We're home.
The Force Awakens not only features the Millennium Falcon once again, it also gives us several other throwbacks to the first ever Star Wars film via the iconic ship. For example, Finn accidentally turns on the game we witnessed Chewie playing against R2-D2 in the original film, known as Dejarik. Finn also briefly grabs the remote training ball Obi-Wan used during Luke's first lightsaber lesson before tossing it aside. Perhaps the most effective nod, however, is when Rey and Finn hide under the floor when the ship is boarded, which is exactly what our heroes did in the first film.
Where are the others? Where's the pilot?
I'm the pilot.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
This is a ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs.
12!
Nima Outpost is that way. Stay off Kelvin Ridge.
Number 1. Starkiller was Luke's original name.
It's another Death Star.
I wish that were the case, Major.
Basically, the only differences between the Empire's superweapon and the First Order's superweapon are the size and the name. Rather than simply recreate the Death Star, the First Order makes a much bigger weapon and decides to call it the Starkiller Base.
And this is Starkiller Base.
Besides sounding pretty awesome, the name Starkiller actually has another meaning behind it. It was the original surname George Lucas intended to give to Luke.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Of course, Lucas would eventually go with Skywalker instead, but this is an undeniably cool Easter egg, and a fantastic nod to the creative process that went into making the original Star Wars film such a hit.
How do we blow it up? There's always a way to do that.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.